John Brennan is joining us now. He served as CIA director under President Obama. He's also an MSNBC senior national security and intel analyst. Director Brennan, thank you for being with us. You wrote this new op-ed to set the record straight, and you outline a few things. I wanted to try to take them one at a time. Let's start with the Steele dossier, because that keeps coming up. It's been largely discredited. What role did it have in your intel assessment?
Well, in the intel assessment itself, Anna, the Steele dossier played no role. The analysts didn't take it into account. It wasn't part of the findings or conclusions, nothing at all. There was a document that was released in January of 2017 that included the assessment as well as several annexes. The FBI insisted that there be a short summary of the Steele dossier included as an annex in this document. But again, the dossier was not included at all in the assessment that determined that the Russians had interfered in the election. They were trying to hurt Hillary Clinton. And they were trying to help Donald Trump's election prospects. So again, the last couple of weeks, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe have been putting out very misleading and inaccurate reports about what was included in that intelligence community assessment.
Yeah, you also say the Trump administration has mischaracterized the assessment's conclusions related to the impact of Russia's 2016 election meddling. Explain.
Yeah, the assessment made no judgment about whether or not these Russian influence operations had any impact on the outcome of the election. We didn't go there at all. We also didn't include in the assessment any reference to collusion. We were focusing on what the Russians were doing, not on what U.S. persons might have been doing. And so this, again, was the intelligence community's effort to try to uncover and reveal how the Russians tried to interfere in our domestic democratic processes, especially a U.S. presidential election.
Do you still stand by your conclusion that Russia's goal was to hurt Clinton and help Trump?
Absolutely. And all the legitimate reviews that were done of the assessment subsequent to it, including the Senate Select Committee of Intelligence bipartisan multi-year review, endorsed and said that those conclusions and those findings were accurate. They were based on intelligence. And so there was no dispute about it, except when there are partisans who come out in support of Donald Trump right now. And again, as you pointed out in the lead, effort to distract what's going on with other issues that the Trump administration is having quite a bit of difficulty with.
The current CIA director, John Ratcliffe, has said he has now referred you and other members of the Obama administration to the Justice Department, accusing you of lying about this. Here's what he said just a few days ago.
That's why I've made the referrals that I have. DNI Gabbard has made referrals, and why we're going to continue to share the intelligence that would support the ability of our Department of Justice to make bring fair and just claims against those who have perpetrated this hoax against the American people and this stain on our country.
Director Brennan, have you been contacted by the DOJ?
No, I have not been contacted by the DOJ, by the FBI, by anybody. Who was not contacted by the CIA or the Office of Director of National Intelligence. Nobody has talked to me at all. I have testified repeatedly over the years consistently about what we did to expose Russian interference in the 2016 election and the creation and development of that intelligence community assessment that was done by the analysts who know Russia, who know cyber, who know counterintelligence matters. I didn't draft that estimate. Jim Clapper didn't draft that estimate. So again, I'm willing to talk to anybody. And if they want to talk to me, either Congress or Department of Justice, whatever, I'm ready to do so.
The Trump administration says it's created what they call a strike force to investigate here. What are your concerns about that? Are you worried?
Well, if the director of CIA and the director of national intelligence make referrals to the Department of Justice, I think the Department of Justice has to do something to respond to it. So putting together an internal strike force, whatever, to take a look at this information is certainly, I think, understandable. But also, I'd like to think that professionals in the Department of Justice will dismiss any of these referrals because they're baseless. They really are. So again, I stand ready to continue to talk about the assessment and what we did during that period of time. There was absolutely no conspiracy. And we continue to stand behind what it is that we have said publicly.
But do you worry at all that the Trump loyalists who are installed in those key positions would find a way to punish you regardless of what the evidence reveals?
Well, I guess they're going to do what they were going to do, Anna. I just feel as though what we did was right. It was legitimate. It was based on our authorities and responsibilities. We would have been derelict if we didn't do these things. So again, I just like to think that, again, professionals in the Department of Justice and FBI and other places are not going to carry on this, what I think is an absurd effort to try to denigrate the work of intelligence professionals as well as the former leaders.
Speaking of intelligence professionals, NBC News spoke to the former CIA officer who helped oversee that 2017 assessment on Russian interference. And she bluntly says of the current administration, quote, the director of national intelligence and the White House are lying again. We definitely had the intel to show with high probability that the specific goal of the Russians was to get Trump elected. And she added that, Putin and his friends in the Kremlin are probably, quote, toasting vodka shots as we speak at the turmoil this is creating. What are your thoughts on that? Is this all giving Putin cover, even as the president seems to be souring on him a little bit?
I think it has, but what I'm most concerned about is the impact on the professionals within the CIA, within the intelligence community. This is not something that they deserve to have to deal with. For a current CIA director and a former director basically at odds with one another, I really hope that the leadership is not going to continue along this very political, partisan path in terms of defending Donald Trump and doing what they can to deflect from his problems. So we have so many challenges on the national security front internationally. The men and women of the CIA, the ODNI, all the other intelligence agencies really need to be focused on what is going on around the globe to keep this country, as well as global peace and security, safe.
John Brennan, thank you very much for taking the time.